Everything is bigger in Texas, at least that's what they say. But tonight, that won't be the case, because after tonight, we're going to eliminate 4 more drivers and take our top 8 for the final 3 of the playoffs. Here for the Overtake iRacing League Cup Series, we're at Texas Motor Speedway. Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper. Alongside me tonight, Logan Threlkeld up in the booth. And as always, Logan, we're looking forward to another great race as we've had a handful of drivers lock themselves in. We'll talk briefly about the points here momentarily, but here at Texas, the reconfiguration of this racetrack should set us up for a pretty good event. So we're going to put the track map up on your screen. Texas Motor Speedway, 20 to 24 degrees. We have 20 degrees in turn 1, 24. The configuration did not change turns 3 and 4. Of course, 1.5 miles here in Fort Worth, Texas. Race analysis coming up on your screen now. 160 laps here tonight, so a very long race ahead of these drivers. And they'll have to really time themselves, pace themselves, as we have 5 tire sets available, unlimited green, white checkers, and a stage lap at lap 50. And now let's get to the points here. Well, that's what everybody's been talking about. We saw it there. Alex Pink giving us some great information. 2 drivers eligible to finish their way in alone. Of course, Radburn Shutters has to finish better than 8th tonight. James Silvers in 6th position. Well, actually, that's the spots they are. I'll probably need the finishing order that they would need to finish in to make that cut for the final 8. But of course, Cofield is right there on the edge, and so we have to pay close attention to where Cofield ends up tonight, as he was able to get into this top 12, but tonight is going to be another one of those, well, you might have to win this thing to stay in. So I am currently looking at these guys as they get set to grid. I'm not sure if I'm having some background noise here. I'm hearing something in the background. Not quite sure what that is. I think it's on my wife's end there. It's noise in the far back. So let's take you track side now. Get that grid up on your screen. Starting on the pole here tonight. 29.721 is going to be Sean Kaser in the number 25. He'll start alongside John Schwartz in the number 48. Now we have Jonathan Cofield in the 3rd position with Bobby Hall Jr. in 4th. Row number 3 belongs to Drew Frail. James Silvers starting in 6th. Row number 4 goes to Radburn Shutters. Matt Grenier is going to begin in 8th position. And rounding out your top 10, Eric Hutton. And your points leader locked in after 2 wins, Yusuf Ghali.
On that 5th row, we've got Cody Anderson in the 42, starting in 11th, next to Rafael Hubie. David Farmer in the 84, coming in 13th. On the outside of him, Brandon Holbert. TJ Handley in the 808, starting out in 15th, next to Nick Mills. Michael Cole in the 67, taking 17th position, next to Blake Hensley in 18th. AJ Stravato in the 33, coming in 19th, with Lucas Lyons to his outside in the 77. And lastly, we have Jacob Locklear in the 92, coming in 21st position.
So there's your 21 cars field here tonight from Texas Motor Speedway. Sean Kaser gets another pole here tonight. That'll put him up front as we set out to take the pace laps. Well, Logan, it's been a good season thus far, but some of these drivers we talked about in pre-race with the 44 of Shutters, I mean, you look at how good of a season he had overall, but as of late, he got wrecked out there last week and didn't get the finish that he was hoping for. He's outside looking in here. Has to have a good night. Probably not what he predicted. Of course, Cofield also in that boat. James Silvers, a few of these guys that had great seasons overall, but when it came playoff time, just didn't quite have the luck.
Yeah, and it's always a tough time whenever that luck just runs out at the wrong time, but, you know, he's close enough to keep himself in it. He's got a chance. We'll see if he can do anything with it tonight.
So we're going to take an additional pace lap here. Is somebody not able to make the grid in time? I believe that was Lucas Lyons, so they are going to extend. They'll have to start from pit road, but the 77 of Lucas Lyons having a connection issue. So they will extend this yellow by 1 lap. Hopefully he'll be able to get back into the session momentarily. But since we have that extension on the yellow, I think this is a great opportunity to bring up a driver. And I think I'm going to look for the 25 if he's in here. Sean Kaser, it's Bradley Cooper, Logan Thronkeld in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Well, getting ready to go green here. You started on the pole. 25 car looks bad fast. What's the secret to getting around Texas?
Keeping it low in 1 and 2, and not letting it ride up too high in 3 and 4. I think I got something good here, but if anything, I probably need to work on the long run, so hopefully this goes well.
Well, Sean, as we head down the backstretch, you got just one more second here. If you want to say anything, shout someone out, whatever you got for me.
Just shout out to my Bandits Motorsports teammate, Cofield back there. You got a good qualifying effort as well. We both needed a good finish here in order to make it into the next round. I believe I need to win, so hopefully everything works out.
10-4 on that. Good luck, buddy.
Thank you.
Sean Kaser in the number 25, starting on the pole here tonight at Texas as we get set to go for playoff race number 6 of the season. Live from the Lone Star State, pace car about to get out of the way. And here on VSPEED, the Overtake iRacing League Cup Series, OiL for short, is ready to settle it for the top 8. Stage lap at lap 50. Lap 1 about to be underway, into that restart zone for the first time. Green flag is out, and we're racing in Texas.
A little bit of an issue. I think we got a missed shift somewhere in the mix. Nothing too crazy. Everybody kept it straight, though.
Sean Case was able to hold on to it, and I briefly heard you there, but I had the volume cranked there for that opening lap. So a missed shift somewhere in the back of the field, not sure who that was, but there was some problems on that start. You see all the yellow banners up here in the top 10. A few guys in the mix. Drew Prail there in the 4th spot did not make the cut, but he is in this top 5, chasing the back of Jonathan Cofield. On the outside there, not being able to get the run. The 48 of John Shorts looks like he's struggling a little bit. Cofield blinks out there for just a moment. Some connection issues for the 58. Case is starting to pull away a little bit here. He's got about 0.2 of a second. 48 car loose out of the exit of 2. That allows Cofield to the outside, but that bottom line a little more dominant here in 3 and 4. And he's able to get back clear for the 2nd position. Deeper in this field, still a lot of guys that need to get up front. Yusuf Ghali can really just put a staple in this championship if he wins here.
A win here for Yusuf Ghali is, you know, a sweep of the 2nd round would be insane for him. It really just makes it a battle for everybody else. He's the only driver currently locked in off the wins, taking the last 2 races of the second round here in the playoffs.
He's sitting back in the 6th position. Of course, not in a must-win situation, but we are only 5 laps into this event. Still plenty of racing left to go. 155 left. And that's, you know, that's a lot of miles. If you want to do the math, it's 232.5 that we have left to race. And you got to pace yourself back here. A little pass for the 7th position briefly there. The 44 of Radburn Shutters looks inside of David Farmer. And there's 2 more yellow banners that are struggling inside the top 10.
It seems like this field's pretty well spread out already. Only 7 laps into it. A little bit of action towards the back of the pack with the 17 of James Silvers, 42 of Cody Anderson, and I believe that is the 9 of Brandon Holder back there. But everybody else just about single filed out already.
Drew Prail's on the outside for 3rd position, trying to get clear of Jonathan Cofield. Cofield's still having that connection issue, so a little bit of a tedious pass there for the 80 to try to get around the 58. He has now worked his way up into the top 3. John Schwartz, who tried to pass on Sean Kaser a little bit ago, but wasn't able to get around him. And so it looks like the bottom of the racetrack is working for the 25.
And as you said a couple laps ago, the bottom line here through 1 and 2 especially, just the dominant line. The mid to high line here just isn't where the racing surface should be right now. And we'll see a couple people take a peek at it, but you won't see them move very much.
It's actually a pretty good run there on the middle line for Drew Prail. He was able to get to the door, but then you go to the other side of the racetrack in 3 and 4, and it just undoes everything. He falls back, now has Cofield to the inside. Yeah, I think Prail is getting a better run through 1 and 2 than these guys on the low line. You can see it here, but he's going to have to get clear of that 58 car if he wants to drive the bottom.
And Cofield's not going to let him go by easy, and I'm going to eat my words as Drew Prail does get around him and finally gets that low line in 3 and 4, able to keep up on the back end of the 48 car.
Yeah, that 80 is just a little bit slower on the other end of the track. If he can figure out 3 and 4, he'd be okay, but right now it looks like 1 and 2 is where he's a little bit quicker than the rest of these guys. But he's running it up the lane too high on the exit of 4, and that's allowing these guys to get to the inside. As you see now, he's battling with Eric Hutton in the 87. Eric Hutton donning a new paint scheme here. So for those of you that were looking for this 87 Burger King car here tonight, it's a little bit of a different scenario. Kind of a throwback, a classic Chevrolet paint scheme.
Yeah, I think I'm seeing a couple paint schemes out there that I don't recognize from last week.
Yeah, there's a new one on that 45 machine as well. Yusuf Ghali has got it changed up. So these guys both kind of in a classic throwback machine. The Bilstein shocks, obviously a throwback to another set of motorsport. Bilstein, whatever you want to. There's about 1,000 different ways to pronounce that. I'm going to get all the people from Louisville, Texas, or Kentucky telling me how stupid I sound when I say words. And here's the guy that's making his debut. He's back here in 15th, getting around Cody Anderson now. AJ Stravada, first time appearing. He joined the Discord there. You brought that to my attention. We've seen him in other leagues. Saturday Night Racing, BTDY, 33 car. First appearance here in the Cup Series, and he does it in there deep into the playoffs, but hopefully get some enjoyment out of the racing here tonight. Started pretty deep in this field, but he's worked his way up 4 spots.
And Stravado's hot off of a win last night in the BTDY at Road America, so he'll be looking to come in here in this first race and make some noise, shake things up for these guys.
Got some tandems of cars that have split away. Radburn Shutters is leading this second group from 9th position. He has Brandon Holder in the number 9 just behind him. Then it's Blake Hensley, James Silvers. Silvers, of course, in one of those, well, you got to finish well situations. But he's just outside the top 10. Doesn't look like it's one of those days just yet. He's going to have to turn up the heat a little bit here. Doesn't have very many playoff drivers behind him. Nick Mills is the lowest of this line of top 12 in the points. He's currently running in the 17th spot and has not picked up any spots. Down 12 for Bobby Hall Jr. And I know this race is not going as he planned at all. Not quite sure what happened to the 94, but he's back in 16th. Cody Anderson was able to get back around AJ Stravato. He's up to 14th again.
And just to backtrack a little bit to Nick Mills, currently sitting 7th in the points, so he's definitely going to have to pick up the pace to keep himself in that top 8. If he finishes where he's at right now, I don't think he's making it to the next round.
No, every playoff driver is ahead of him currently, so he's not in a good scenario right now. But again, it's 17 laps in. Still plenty of time for these guys to get it figured out as we're, just around 40 miles into this race. It's still anybody's game, and if a caution flies, you can see some of these guys change up, maybe work a strategy. But however, right now, we're looking at stage points, and that's what's important. That's the task at hand. Jonathan Cofield gets around. He takes over the lead, and we'll have to rewind this a little bit to see what happened, because your previous leader, Sean Kaser, he's back to 5th now. Back this up one more time. Cofield was working on him a couple laps prior, back here on lap 17. This, of course, on the instant replay, and then you have Schwartz back there. Prail, who's now in 2nd position. Cofield blinks here for just a moment. What happened to Sean Kaser? I'm not entirely sure if Sean maybe just used up his stuff a little bit on this short run, or looked like Cofield started trying that middle line that Prail had been running, and then a little contact there between Prail and Schwartz. Updraft into 3, but on the outside, looked like Cofield just got a better dive into 3.
I definitely had a little bit of help on that backstretch too. Had 2 cars stacked up behind him and just left Kaser wide open out there.
So it looks like maybe the racing line has changed a little bit. And John said he was going to keep it on the bottom, but it looks like that middle line through 1 and 2 is coming to life as they've rubbered it up pretty good here in 20 laps. And Cofield, I know, wants to stay up front, but he's got company now. Yusuf Ghali has gained 8 positions. He's into the top 3, running 2nd now.
Looking for that sweep.
He's on pace for it. He's been fast all season long. He's had some bad luck that kept him out of contention for a couple of these races, but if he puts it all together, definitely a driver that could win this championship. Yusuf Ghali starting to pull away from the 3rd place position. Drew Prail, his teammate John Schwartz, peeking to the inside now for that 3rd spot. And your pole sitter back to 5th. Oh, contact! 48's around. Through the grass. And a rough ride here through the quad oval, but he's going to hold on to it all the way back to 17th position. Some heavy contact between Drew Prail and John Schwartz sends him all the way out of the top 10. Instant replay on your screen.
Oh, Schwartz got loose.
Yeah, I think he slid up into him a little bit there. There really wasn't much room left to the outside for Prail. And that's just maybe a little bit of overdrive in the exit for the 48.
Well, unfortunately, unless he can claw his way back through this field, not going to get any stage points, but at least the field will stack back up for him on that lap 50 stage break. He's still got a chance at the end of the race.
Yusuf Ghali takes over the point while we were watching that replay. The 58 of Cofield with his blinking issue, he's not getting dragged like the rest of these cars would. And that's probably interfering a little bit with his backstretch and his time. But here comes the 45 down pit road.
We got a couple of them coming down now.
OiL Hui in the 21 is down. Looks like Dave Farmer also hitting the pit box. Matt Grenier. These guys topping off with fuel. No, 4 tires, it looks like. It's a little strategy call. 45 was able to go up there and snag the lead, get a lap led, but this gives it back to Cofield. Does he stay out for the remaining laps of the... Does he have to come down pit road? Will he take fuel only? The races stay green, and they're pretty spread out. This could be a good chance for Cofield to snag this stage victory.
Does seem quite early, considering they only have 5 sets of tires available for this 160 lap race. But they're the drivers, not me.
Let's put Sean Kaser, your pole sitter, back up into the top 3 as they stay out here. An additional 2 laps now. A few more takers down pit road. There's Eric Hutton. He hit the pit box right after his teammates did. Nick Mills
like
came down as well.
Yusuf Ghali looks like he ended up with a speeding penalty on pit road. 50 seconds in the box. Puts him all the way back in 20th position, 2 laps down now.
So first to worst here for the 45. After that speeding penalty, he'll be 2 laps down. He will have the stage caution to get 1 of those laps back, but not the way you want this day to go. And that's just one of those mistakes that you probably facepalm. You beat yourself up over it because you know you have the speed to be up front, but now it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think at this point you really just have to focus on running the rest of your race as clean as possible, and you know, you might catch a couple laps back if some of these other drivers decide to come into pit, but it's going to be hoping for cautions for that 45.
So Drew Prail battling with James Silvers here. Of course, not poor position, but getting by. He has the 87 hot on his tail. These drivers all a lap down trying to go back and get it back here, but based off of the fuel and the trajectory of how these cars are running the pace, I would say that if Cofield and these guys stay out, very good chance that Prail and these guys with Hutton right behind them could probably get their lap back the old-fashioned way before the stage break. We're talking about a good 2.5 seconds of fall-off. Prail just sent it in there. 3 wide down the backstretch. They're not waiting around. Sorry about that. I was trying to figure out what that noise was in my basement. It's like a high pitch that only dogs can hear. And it's driving me insane. I'm slowly losing my mind right now. Some white noise.
Well, it sounds like, you know, maybe just a little bit louder engine noise.
Yeah, just turn it up. You know, turn up the radio and it'll go away. Fix itself. I think everybody's owned a beater at some point in their life. Just turn up the radio, it fixes it.
If you ignore the problem doesn't exist.
Still watching here with the 87 of Hutton. These guys on track to get back to that front. Looks like Drew Prail, based off of this speed, will most likely take over the lead. I think Cofield and Case are kind of... They're stringing this out a little bit too far. I think they need to come down pit road now.
They're still running slightly better than 31-second lap times right now, which, like you said earlier, is just about 2 seconds off of the ideal time. And It's not going to be easy if they decide to stay out. I'm with you. I think it's time for tires for those leaders.
Watching it back here that Hutton and Frail are battling now. Hutton's going to try to lead some laps. This is definitely going to bring them back onto the lead lap. And now at this point, if the 25 and the 58 come down pit road, they'll find themselves probably a good 7 to 10 seconds behind these guys. That's at this point, but they continue to stay out. Of course, they have the front 2 spots. It's just how far are they willing to stretch this out? Cofield's just having massive connection issues tonight as well. Definitely not helping the handling of that machine. As you see, the 25 get a little loose and a little wiggly, but he gets a good run here down the back straightaway to catch up to him. They are ticking the laps away. One car out of the race now. It's TJ Hanley. The 808 brings it behind the wall here just about 3 laps ago. So problems for this 808. And he'll be done for the day. John Kaser gets around. Cofield brings it down pit road.
Good move by Cofield. Be interesting to see if he's going to come back in on that stage break for fresh tires again. Obviously, you know, he's able to run good on 38 lap tires, but we'll see. We still got a couple laps before that happens.
Yeah, but the long run there that they strung this out, they will have about 11 to 10 lap fresher tires, but there goes Eric Hutton on around. Radburn Shutter's still out there on the racetrack, so there's about 4 cars that have not hit pit road just yet. There's the 25 of Sean Kaser now down into the pit lane, and it goes Shutter, Silvers, and Holder. The last 3 cars that have yet to hit the pits, they will have to do so. There's Hutton now catching up. I take that back. There's actually a car that looks a lot like Hutton's. That's Nick Mills. So Hutton up to 4th. He will be your leader after these pit stops all cycle through. We'll have about 10 laps to go. Can the 44 stretch it these next 10 laps? He's pretty much on that stint where he has to make it to the end of this stage, or he's going to lose all these spots.
Kaser's got a little bit of work to do himself. Cycled out of the pits into 11th position, so he needs to try to catch up with Cofield, maybe try to make a pass, but it's going to be tough. But these guys do have the freshest tires on the field right now, ahead of them, already 15 laps deep. So they should have the pace to maybe gain a couple positions before the stage break happens.
This is really stretching here. We're right on board with the 44. As he hits 5th gear, is he clutching it at all? No, he is not. He is coming in, downshifting into the entry of 1 to try to keep that nose set. And he'll have 9 laps to go here. This is, I mean, if these guys could have made it from the start, if they were saving fuel, but I don't think they will. You see the 44 braking now to come down pit road. That's just staying out too long.
I'd have to agree. It seems like that ideal time frame is about 25 to 35 laps, and even 35 is pushing it. But 40 is way too much.
So Hutton now is going to retain the lead. We've got one more car out there on the racetrack, and that's James Silvers. He actually comes down now right after the 44. And so Eric Hutton takes over the lead, looking like his only challenger, Drew Frail, just behind him there, running a little bit higher line, trying to chase down Eric Hutton, who's most likely going to claim this stage unless we get a caution to shake things up. Even then, if they wait too long for this yellow to come out, that could be the stage anyway.
Yeah, that's very true. looking back a little further, Cofield's made his way up to 7th position now. It's just Sean Acer, sorry, that needs to move up into the top 10 to start gaining some stage points here.
Of course, Sean on much fresher tires than a couple of these guys in front of him. But they're pretty far ahead. And of this stint, it's Matt Grenier, Bobby Hall. Shutters came in the latest, so he gets back around. Pretty impressive there for the 44 to get back around the 25. And, you know, I talk about what Yusuf Ghali is going through. He's running side by side with Nick Mills right now. Car is fast. He's got one of those laps back, but he still has a tall order. The stage brake's going to bail him out for that speeding penalty, because he will be the first car a lap down. Laps to go in stage number 1. Eric Hutton, your leader. He's holding on by half a second over Drew Braille. 2.7 back to John Schwartz. Great recovery for the 48. Remember, that car got sent all the way through the quad oval grass. He ran the entire front stretch in the dirt, was able to salvage it, keep it back up on the surface, didn't get any damage that we can see on the outside of that 48. And looks like he might be able to get a top 3 here in this stage. Rafael Hubi in the 21. He is side by side. That is the 45 of Yusuf Ghali. Of course, Ghali 1 lap down. Then it's Nick Mills for the top 5.
Not a whole lot of movement going on right now. Hopefully see some guys make some moves and try to gain some positions here in the next 2 laps.
It's been a relatively quiet day for the Cup Series, but I think Eric Hutton wouldn't have it any other way. He benefits the most when these races go green, and he's showing the strategy here. I would say, and this is just my opinion, that had the 45 not made that mistake for speeding, he probably would have got this stage 1 win. But the guy next in line to take advantage of that, Eric Hutton, who kind of followed that strategy about a lap later, he finds himself there to capitalize on that mistake. And we come by for lap 49, white flag up in the air for stage number 1. Off of turn 2, 87 has a massive lead now of over a second on Drew Braille. Braille not playoff eligible. He will take away some stage points from some of these guys that are, as we set up out of turn 4. Stage 1 winner, Eric Hutton in the 87. Here to AJ Stravato. Looks like Stravato in his debut is going to get stage points for 10th spot. Cofield able to work back up to 9th. And there's the yellow.
Cofield was up in 7th there for a little bit, so what happened to him to fall back to 9th place there? He does have the... Oh, no, his last stop was for fuel only. So he did not take tires on that, so he came out slower than the guys ahead of him.
At 6.9 in the box there for the 58. We had a couple of guys try that strategy. James Silvers, Brandon Holder, Sean Kaser. Looks like all the Bandits guys trying the fuel only. John Schwartz, Eric Hutton. These guys, maybe 2 tire stops.
Like Blake Hensley also picking up a speeding penalty on his last pit visit. He is also a lap down with Yusuf Ghali, who should gain his lap back.
There's your top 10 on the left-hand side of your screen. Pay attention to it because it's about to change as we get ready for pit road. Everybody going to come down, get 4 fresh tires. And the guys that benefited from 2 doing a phenomenal job. Eric Hutton gets the stage victory. Down the pit lane, Yusuf Ghali, of course, going to get the lucky dog. He'll be back on the lead lap. He will get to pit. It'll put Blake Hensley, the next car, 1 lap down in 19th. Here we go, pit stop time. The stall nice and easy for a lot of these guys. Haven't seen anyone miss the box yet. Four tires definitely going to go on all these machines. Down and away for Nick Mills. Down and away for Eric Hutton. Rafael Hubi going to get just behind Shorts there. It looks like the top three is going to remain the same. Couple spots gained there. Looks for David Farmer. There you go. That's your stage one.
And in the meantime, it looks like TJ Hanley has made his way back into the race. Probably had some connection issues there earlier, but got it sorted out. Unfortunately, though, 7 laps down.
I've seen it done. You can come back from this, but he's going to have to stick with it. Hopefully no more problems here for the 808, as he is currently, it looks like he's waiting for a wave around to get one of those laps back. But when we come back here on VSPEED, it's going to be Eric Hunt leading the way live on VSPEED.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back live at Texas Motor Speedway. Your stage one winner, Eric Hutt, is going to lead them into turn one. One caution. Several lead changes here on the race recap. 6 of them to be exact. As we get set to go back live in racing for the second time. Stage number 2 about to be underway. Playoff race number 6 and the cutoff for the final 8. Here we go. Green flags out. Back live at Texas.
A huge jump for Eric Hunt off that restart.
Yeah, he pulls out about 0.3 of a second over his teammate. Drew Prail stuck in the middle here, has to check up 3 wide just behind him. There's Farmer, Mills, and Hubi off of turn 2. Door to door in the middle, meeting the sandwich. And here comes the 58. He thinks better of it, backs out.
I think there's a little bit of contact there for David Farmer and who's that? He was next to the 88, Nick Mills.
Yeah, Yeah, Mills also having a little connection issue as well. And it might have been Hoobie, I'm not sure. Somebody blinking out back there. The 84 has since spread himself. He's got a couple tenths on both sides of him here as they go down the backstretch. Pole sitter under fire. He has a lot of yellow banners back here. Remember, all the Bandits guys taking fuel only now on 4 tires, but unfortunately, we won't know how this plays out. We haven't had the cautions really to utilize all 5 tire sets. I think these guys are probably going to have an extra one at the end of the day here.
It's hard saying, you know, there's so many different strategies going out right now. We saw, you know, the 2 tire stops, the 4 tire stops, fuel only stops. It's kind of all over the board.
Sit here with Eric Hutton. He is currently maintaining that 0.3 of a second over his teammate in the 48, but the 48 gets around Drew Crail. And then Dave Farmer slowly creeps up towards this top 3. He's bringing Hoobie with him. Top 5 and pulled away from AJ Stravado of about 0.3. Farmer peeks to the inside here on Crail. Quick update in the chat. Mills is +7, Holders +3. These guys in there. Cofield's on a 0. Farmer, these guys tied. Of course, Sean Kaser's in a must-win situation. Not looking good right now for the 25.
And Sean Kaser back here really battling with Bobby Hall Jr. Getting really close at times, and it's Yusuf Ghali even there behind him is really caught up to Sean Kaser multiple times, and now looking to the inside of him.
That's gonna dive down to the bottom through the quad oval and get that position away, and the 94 way up the racetrack here. Ghali might have a chance at another spot here out of the exit of 2. There he gets it. 15 gonna hold up into 3, so that probably going to do it there for the 94. We talked a little bit about how some of these guys might have stayed out too long. That's probably not going to be the case this time around. These guys will definitely string it out that full 40 or whatever laps they can make it on fuel if this race stays green. But the commitment to do that in the first stage, when stage points are oh so important. I mean, you got that measuring stick for this race as you see Farmer take over the lead. I want to know. I want to know how far they can go, Logan.
It's difficult, you know, like we said, it's about, I would say the window is around that 30 lap mark. In my opinion, obviously with only 5 tire sets, you can't quite do that. So you do have to stretch some out a little bit, but it's, I'm going to say that 30 to 35 mark is your ideal time frame on those tires.
Farmer takes over the point, but now Hoobie looking to try to take away the lead. A little bit of defense going on here as Hutton falls back to 3rd. He now has Drew Prale, and there's something to leading this race. I think that clean air is actually wearing the tires out a little bit faster than the rest of these cars. How many guys have we seen up there in clean air that just fall off about 10 laps into the segment?
It's been multiple already, and it was 6 lead changes in a race that's been pretty well spread out, almost single file for most of it. Now, obviously, there's something going on up there in the front of the pack that's affecting that lead car a little bit more than, say, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place.
Riding on board with the 84 of Farmer. And I know that some of these guys downshifting into the entry of 1 and 2, that probably gets you a good drive in traffic, but it could be wearing out that right front. That might be part of the recipe here for why these guys are falling off. As you see Hoobie still on the back bumper. Hutton starting to rebound a little bit here. And then Prale falling back to the clutches of John Schwartz. The top 5 have remained pretty much the same since pit stops in that stage break. AJ Stravado trying to work his way into the top 5. And then there's Cofield just behind him. Golly working up a few positions as kind of went dormant here. He got up into the top 10 relatively quickly. Since quieted down here for the 45, and I know the frustration for that mistake on pit road. You see Hooby to the inside for the race lead. I know the frustration, though. If you make a mistake like that, you feel like you're playing catch-up for the remainder of this race. Still plenty of time for the 45 to get back up here. As you see the accordion effect in the top 10. First through 8th spot, right on top of each other here.
Yeah, first through just about 10th, separated by less than a 2-second gap for 10 cars. Actually, you could even push that all the way back to the 11th spot. Sean Kaser, he is staying within that 2-second reach of first place.
Oh, little contact there with the 45 of Yusuf Ghali. The 94 gets back to his outside coming out of turn 2. And now Ghali has to play a little defense on the low line here. Looks like the higher side of this racetrack working pretty well for Bobby Hall Jr. This time coming out of turn 2, they're going to stay side by side. This has to be using up the tires for the 45. He might have to make a choice if he just lets Bobby Hall go. As you see way up the racetrack there for the 94, going to get a good drive in to turn 4. He will clear Yusuf Ghali. Now we're seeing Eric Hutton surge back towards his position that he started the second stage with. First through third have tightened up to just about 0.2 of a second. Really tight off the exit of 2. Farmer almost hits the wall. And now diving to the inside for second position. Hutton back at it.
Taking that stage win, Hutton does not want to let these guys get out of reach at all.
John Schwartz kind of feels the same. He gets around Drew Crail for 4th spot. All the way up on the outside. Farmer going to go back to the inside of Hooby. Down the backstretch, 3 wide. Little pinch there from Farmer. He's going to keep Hutton buried down in 3 and 4. Won't get the exit. Almost up into the wall for Hooby, and that opened up the door for Schwartz. 4-way battle for the lead. Crail's back in it. 5 cars right on top of each other. Looks like Hutton is going to prevail, though, as he slowly creeps up the racetrack and gets clear of the 84 of Farmer and takes back the lead on lap 72. So another lead change here, and Logan, this race kind of started out a little slow, but these guys have really picked up the pace here.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This is getting fun. To see these top 5 cars separated by less than half a second, it's really putting the pressure on whoever is in first place, because you're gonna have to block both lanes if you want to keep a hold of it. And as you know, that's just not very easily done. We're gonna see a lot more cycling of who's in the lead.
Off the back of Eric Hutton, you saw a little brush with the wall there by Hooby in the background. Still kind of fighting that safety barrier as they go down the backstretch into turn 3. Little tag on the apron there for the 84. Farmer a little loose there for the 87. Hooby's going to go back to the outside. John Schwartz trying to follow him. Who do you go with here if you're the 48? You
know, looking at the temperatures right now, we're nearing triple digits on the track surface about 97, 98 degrees. Looks like it came down just a tad. I can't quite remember what we started out at, but, you know, in my time at Texas, I've always found that mid to high line seems to be a little bit grippier whenever the temperatures get up this high. And you can start seeing that with these guys switching up their lines almost lap to lap. Now, granted, whether that's intentional or just based off of your position going into the corner, if you got a car next to you, it's hard saying, but you're going to see a lot of line switching for the remainder of this race.
We're going to see guys surge back to the front. As you can see, the 21 of OiL Humi had the lead briefly there, trying to get back to the point. 0.2 of a second. He's getting a decent run out of 3 and 4. Through 1 and 2, though, a little bit slower that time. They're running almost identical lap times. Fastest car on the racetrack right now is John Schwartz at the 48, but not by much. We're talking just about 0.03 of a second. That time by just about a tenth separate him and Eric Hutton.
With John Schwartz, we do have a new update on the points. Schwartz and Hutton, 17th or better, will lock them into the next round. Shutter, 16th or better, locks him into the next round. And James Silvers, 14th or better. So good potential for those 4 drivers there. And Silver's really the only one that's in any danger right now, currently sitting in 14th. So he's got to stay there or improve to get on to round 3 here in the Overtake iRacing League playoffs.
Right on that cutoff right there with Jacob Locklear. Plenty of distance behind him. Locklear around. That's going to bring out a yellow, I think. Part of the inside wall. That's Cody Anderson.
There's the yellow. Wow, that took forever to come out.
Here, looks like the 92 and the 15 maybe get together. 92 snaps it loose right in front of Farmer, or right in front of Anderson and Grenier. And Anderson nowhere to go.
Cody Anderson, that 42 driver, I know he is out of the points chase for the championship, but he's been just kind of hanging out in the back, not doing a whole lot tonight, but our first natural caution unfortunately gets claimed in it.
He'll bring it down pit road to get some of this damage repaired. Eric Hutton leads them in. I would say roughly the 2.5 rounds of pit stops that we've had here today. Some of these guys taking fuel only or 2 tires. So this officially is the 3rd round of pit stops coming in now. Ooh, it looks like Hubi's going to be really close here. He's going to hold on, though.
Ooh, a little bit of contact there coming out of the pits.
There's your top 10 out of the pits now. As every driver brought it down pit road. This will bail out. I believe Blake Hensley's going to get back on the lead lap because of this. So there'll only be 1 car out of this race, and that is TJ Hanley. He's back out after another issue here today. 808 behind the wall. Jacob Locklear, the last car out on the racetrack. And that was, of course, the cause of the caution here on lap 79. But stay tuned here on VSPEED. We've got plenty of more racing left to go. We get set to drive for about 100 miles from Texas.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back here live from Texas, Overtake iRacing League playoff race number 6. Eric Hutton back to the point after pit stops and a caution there on lap 79. We're back underway. And just past the halfway point here for Eric Hutton as he crosses that stripe. So perfect opportunity here to get loud. Find the volume knob. Let's turn it up here on VSPEED. He'll be able to take over the lead here. Just gets by Eric Hutton. Momentum swings for the different stages of these runs. It seems like Hutton's a little bit faster at times, but it's been a weird transition. It's like very early Hubie, and then Hutton's a little quicker, and then it goes back to Hubie. I don't know what to predict. It looks like maybe some mistakes have been made through these runs that have created this situation, but it seems to be the same two that keep shuffling back and forth, and I think Farmer's going to go in here and try his luck again for the lead.
Even John Schwartz now looking to the inside of Farmer, and he's got Yusuf Ghali right behind him.
Of course, Ghali, one of the fastest cars on the racetrack, had the lead there briefly in stage 1, but then a pit road speeding penalty put him 2 laps down. He's since recovered to the top 5, working on the back of his teammate, and Schwartz is just along for the ride here. How about the debut for AJ Stravado? He started back in the 19th position, currently running 7th.
Yeah, one heck of a day for AJ here. Can't complain at all in your debut of a new league in the playoffs at that. Huge run for him, 12 positions gained. He'll be looking to grab a couple more before the end of this race.
While we're talking about that battle for the lead, heats back up. 87 of Eric Hutton to the inside of OiL Hubi, trying to take away the lead for what would be probably our 10th time today, 11th time if he can get around. I think we're going to make that a 12 if he can clear here out of 3. Ah, that's close. I think it's going to count, though. It does. Just the nose there for the 87. We're talking a couple hundredths to pick up that lap lead.
Up here in the front, it's intense since that stage break.
Yusuf Ghali, I mean, he doesn't care if it's a teammate, a playoff driver, non-playoff driver. He is not cutting any slack for anybody as he inches the nose there through 3 and 4 to keep John Schwartz from running his line. He'll get to the inside here off the exit of 2. All 3 Ritz Racing drivers that you're looking from 3rd back to 5th. The last of those drivers, Nick Mills in the 88, back in 15th right now. But in a season that's been dominant for the 45, you know, I would say probably secondary to the 87 of Hutton, John Schwartz has really turned up the heat here. They stamped a yellow banner on that car, and that's when it really came to life. I think he needs to just run that all season long.
Just predict it for the next season. He's doing it again.
Sitting back here in the 5th spot. Of course, Hutton trying to work around for 2nd now to the inside of Dave Farmer. Off of the corners. Looks like this car getting a little bit tight on that high line now, and it looks like the bottom's starting to prevail again. And another word there from Alex Penn as they run right now. Cofield would be out of the top 8. He's sitting in 7th position right now. He needs to get up front. And he is struggling with Sean Kaser on the inside.
I was about to mention the updates from Alex Penn here, just as a little challenge to the viewers. With Holder, needs to be within 2 of Cofield and 3 of Farmer. And then if Farmer finishes 6th or better, Holder needs to upgrade that to being within 2. So that is his way of locking himself into the top 8. And it's not going to be easy by any means. Holder currently sitting in 9th.
Jonathan Cofield is going to create more work for Alex Penn because he just picked up a spot on the outside of John Schwartz. So everything you do, change it. They're still battling for 2nd position. Ghali cannot decide where he wants to go as Farmer fights on the outside. He's hung door to door with 2nd position. And while this is all going on, OiL Hubi has checked out 0.6 of a second over this 2nd place back, and the rest of this field is kind of just grouped up. You thought it was tight before. We've only got about 2 seconds separating back to Jacob Locklear. So it's 2nd through 17th that are all within 2 seconds of each other now. Oh, contact there going into 3. Hutton moved the door off of the 40-84, and Farmer washes up the entry of turn 1. That allows Hutton to get around him.
A lot of shuffling happening in the back of the pack. You see those guys swerving in and out of each other, coming down the backstretch. Could cause for a difficult pass in dangerous situations.
AJ Stravato has fallen back to the 9th spot just in front of him. There's the 9 of Brandon Holder trying to get around the 48 machine, trying to stay within 2 of that 58 of Cofield. Oh, and bump draft from Prail down the backstretch.
Be a little bit too much of a push there for the 9 car, but able to stay side by side with Stravato. Going to be a difficult pass on this outside line. Like you mentioned a couple laps ago, this bottom line starting to prevail once again.
Tight there, but down the backstretch, the 9 a little bit better run off the exit, washing up the track a little bit here for the 33, backs it down. Going to get a good run here off of turn 4. They're going to stay door to door again across the line. This is for the 8th position. Oh, contact. That moves the 9 a Holder all the way up the racetrack there on the exit of 2. 3 wide.
And going into turn 1 there, Drew Prail barely clipped the wall, but it almost helped him to set up for a really good run through 2, out of it, and down the backstretch, as you saw him take a look at the inside of AJ Stravato, just unable to complete that pass.
So Eric Hutton and Yusuf Ghali were able to get around the 84 of Dave Farmer and have since trimmed the lead down to 0.4 of a second. They are catching up to Rafael Hubi in the 21. He has led 19 laps, about to be 20 as he crosses the line. Lap 103 on the board. We're starting to get into that run that we had in that first stint for stage 1, where guys are spreading out. You're starting to see who was saving their stuff and who wasn't. And hopefully, for Yusuf Ghali's sake, he doesn't make another mistake on pit road, because that 45 car is bad fast.
Absolutely. He's having one heck of a day here. He's been one of the biggest movers, and after having that speeding penalty in pit lane, coming out at the back of the pack, all the way back up to 3rd. He knows how to drive that thing here, and he's shown it.
A little bit lower on the exits, too. Looks like he saved some tires compared to Hutton. But remember, Ghali is locked in. So the 45 is good to go. He's won both of these races in the second round of the playoffs. He probably just wants to get Hutton up here to get a win and lock them both in.
Well, as you kind of mentioned earlier, Ghali does not care who he's racing against at all. He is going for the lead just about every time. Now, it is smart to help your teammate get himself locked in, but at the same time, he might be going for the bragging rights of sweeping round 2.
So Hutton will get by, and so now Ritz Racing on the top 2, but it's going to be brief for the 87 of Hutton because Yusuf Ghali dives into the inside for the lead. Little wiggle there with the 87 and the 45, and now Hubi back into the picture. Gonna go offset 3 wide, almost some contact into turn 1. Now Jonathan Cofield is up to 4th, and an update again from Alex Penn. Cofield and Farmer are currently locked in in, Holder would be out. But Farmer is kind of on that falling point. He's falling back to 6th spot. Holder back to 10. So, are you losing your mind yet here on the mathematics of what's to come? Because this is our 13th lead change tonight. 14.
You know, it's tough to wrap your brain around sometimes, that's for sure. But you know, we still have at least one more pit cycle to go through, and 52 laps left, coming up on 51. So it's hard to say. You know, all it takes is one mess up, one caution, and it could just completely flip the script for this race.
Here in the downshift there from the 45. He's starting to pull away a little bit from Eric Hutton. Rafael Humi falls back to the clutches of the 58 of Cofield, who's going to peek to the inside now for 3rd. All bets are off here. Once you get into playoff time, Sean Kaser following suit. He's in a must-win situation, so he has to get back to this lead for this final lap. Deep in this field here, Shutters in the 44. I'd like to know the statistics on this guy because he's back in 16th racing with Blake Hensley, who just got back on the lead lap after that last caution. And I want to say that Shutters could be in a weird spot here. He might be mathematically locked in. I'm not entirely sure. But this could be really close for him.
Yeah, so Shutters is one of the guys, he's in a position where he has to finish 16th or better to lock himself into round 3. So he's
making it interesting.
He very much is. Cody Anderson starting to work back up through the field after getting involved in that last caution. Not as much damage as I would have expected. Seems to be running all right now, sitting in 12th position, just got around Nick Mills, but Nick's not going to let him by easily at all. Going to stick to that inside line and really make Cody work for this position.
Out for the lead, heats back up. Eric Hutton taking it to the inside of Yusuf Ghali. And this is opening up a battle for Cofield. Working his way up into the top 3 just a moment ago. Now looking for 2nd.
So that last caution was around lap 80. I believe it was lap 81. These guys, you see the times, are about at that 2-second fall off. So it's going to be getting close to being time for some tires.
How far do you want to stretch this? Because right now, you know that if they pit, they wouldn't make it to the end of this race. I think they're going to go probably another 6 or 7 laps, which is going to be like right there on splitting this run in half.
I think that's your ideal situation there, is to split this in half as best as possible and just run it as hard as you can.
Doing a great job of saving the tires as Cofield surges back to the top 3. He's all over the back bumper of Eric Hutton. Brushes the wall there coming off of turn 4, but gets a good run down the quad oval. Unfortunately, he is blinking, so I am going to move the camera over to the 87. It looks like the speed of these two Ritz Racing drivers has fallen off a little bit here. You're starting to see the 25 of Kaser, the 48 of Schwartz work their way closer and closer every lap. Last time by, they were about a 10th faster.
As you mentioned earlier, the blinking issue with Jonathan Cofield does not only affect him. You know, it does slow him down quite a bit, but if he's on the back bumper of the 87 of Eric Hutton, and he blinks out, that adds a ton of drag to the back end of that car and could potentially ruin a run if Hutton looks to go against Yusuf Ghali.
Yeah, this is kind of a drafting situation here on the backstretch. When you come out of turn 2, you got to rely on it so much. And these cars really were built for aerodynamics. And you have a connection issue with the 58 that's kind of interfering with the air on Eric Hutton. And I think that might be partially why the 45 of Yusuf Ghali has kept them both at bay here.
Right behind him, John Schwartz, Sean Kaiser. I'm gonna mess that up every time. I apologize, Sean.
It's okay. We have a Kaiser out there as well. So I believe that's Brian that drives in the 07. So it's a common mistake.
These two have been battling lap after lap. It's these guys right here in the 4th and 5th position, I think, have changed just about the most of anybody on the field.
Looks like Sean's going to bring it down pit road, possibly. No, he just maybe misses a shift here and lets the 33 of Stravato go by for the top 5 now. He's back to 6th. Who's going to be the first one down pit road?
I know Cody Anderson came down.
Oh, we're looking at maybe a caution here.
Ooh.
Shutters makes contact with Hensley, pinching him in 3 and 4. They're still 3 wide. All right, crisis averted.
It looks like Dave Farmer has been elected to be the first one down pit road.
A little split through the box there for the 84, but he will be the first one to come down here on lap 121. He can make it to the end on fuel. He is guaranteed to make it all the way through. Yusuf Ghali, Eric Hutton all staying out. An additional couple laps here. Nobody in the top 5 is going to come down this time around. Farmer back out on the racetrack now. He's going to be about a second and a half, 2 seconds faster than these guys.
Got a couple more coming down pit road. Got Drew Prail, Brandon Holder, another car I missed the number on, but I think it might have been Blake Hensley. Yes, it was.
3 cars
really going to shake up the end of this race.
Schwartz is coming in. Looks like Hutton hits the pit stall as well. That leaves Yusuf Ghali out there without a teammate. Jonathan Cofield still out there.
Not sure who that was just ahead of James Silvers, but potentially, I think that was maybe Rafael Huby, who was in front of James Silvers there. Really locked him up on the entrance of pit road. He might be facing a speeding penalty after that.
Here comes Ghali. Cofield stays out another lap. So your leader down pit road on lap 125 stretched it out. An additional 4 laps over the rest of this field. Almost some contact there with the 92 on the pit lane. But he's able to hit his box okay. He's a little bit crooked in there. It's going to be a hard drive out. Like 4 tires here for the 45. Down and away now for Yusuf Ghali. Cofield is coming in on lap 126. And so what does that cycle out here? I'm trying to figure this out. Does Farmer, because of his pit, get ahead of these guys? Or is he going to be too far behind? He's behind. He's lost a ton of time on these guys.
the same time, though, he could be trying to save these tires because, as we know, around that lap 30 to 35 area, it's kind of a dangerous zone on these tires.
Button will take over the lead. He has 1 lap older tires than the 45 of Yusuf Ghali, but Ritz Racing has the top 3, and they are pulling away. AJ Stravato in 4th. Here comes Jonathan Cofield back out onto the racetrack. What does 2 laps get you here? And will it even off by the time that Cofield catches up to him? He's got about 35 laps to do it. And now we have a tiebreaker as Penn updates us again. Cofield and Holder would be in. Farmer is out via the tiebreaker. And it looks like Farmer might have thrown this race away. Farmer just has to go up here and get a couple spots. That's what he's going to have to do here. Try to aim for that top 5.
Looking at all the information that Alex Penn gets us here, it's really hard to say who's going to make it into the top 8. There's so many variables and so many different outcomes. It's insane to even try to wrap your head around it.
And it'll be ever changing as we still have about 30 laps to go. Hutton stays on point. Yusuf Ghali, who could very easily get up there and take the lead away before the end of this thing and get the sweep, the trifecta, the hat trick, the second round of the playoffs here at Texas. Working into turn 1, up on the back bumper of him. Right now, nothing really locked in here in the way of Eric Hutton, but I think he is in a must-win situation. Put those points back up on your screen there briefly. Hutton is in 5th in points, so I don't think he's really in a must-win. I take that back. It's kind of between, you know, Holder, Mills, Cofield, all these guys back here. Mathematics of 32 points out of the lead, but there's only, what, 5 points separating these guys. And with Farmer falling out back there, he's in 9th right now coming into today. That's, yeah, try to wrap your head around that. Good luck.
I know a little bit further back, Alex had said that Hutton needs a 17th or better to lock himself into the round of 8. So he's looking pretty good right now for that. But it's still just one mistake away from just changing everything and then getting whole new sorts of information from Alex Penn.
Cautions. One of those officially a caution, the other one a stage break with 16 lead changes here today. And we're looking at possibly another one here as Yusuf Ghali gets a great run here coming off of turn 4. Ghali's been a little bit faster than Eric Hutton for a couple laps now. Not by much, but just enough. He's narrowed that gap to just a 10th. You see the big spread here for the top 5. We got to go all the way back to the backstretch for a battle between Drew Prail and David Farmer. There's the tiebreaker between these two cars right now. Holder and Farmer battling this out.
That Holder's in a position where he needs to finish within 3 behind Farmer. And with him sitting in front of him right now, he's got to be happy about it. You know, he's got a lot of room behind him that he could make a small mistake, not a big one. But, you know, worst case scenario, small mistake, recover, still finish within 2 or 3, and then he's on to the next round.
Yusuf Ghali gets around for the lead. He passes Eric Hutton on lap 136. He will come off of turn 4. Your new leader, Hutton's starting to fall off a little bit. John Schwartz from 3rd. He's going to be the next one, trying to hunt him down. So Ritz Racing much in control of the top 3. AJ Stravado has chased him down a little bit here. Kind of varies with lap times. Every now and then he's a little bit quicker, and then he matches it. But he's shaved away. He's got him under a second now. Might just be biding his time to have some tires here before the end of this race. Another 10th that time by.
Then way further back, Radburn Shutter still sitting in 15th place, flirting with elimination. Needing that 16th position or better.
Almost some contact there between Bobby Hall and Blake Hensley for the 13th spot. As it came off of turn 2. Bobby Hall holding it down there, but very neat looking paint job. I really like that on the 94. Get a good look at it there. And the field filler 94, Earl shot from Bobby Hall. Not quite sure what you call that style of art, but I do like it. Oh, contact again. They're door to each other into 3. Man, that's the action back here outside the top 10. These guys are fighting hard. I think the 94 has said, I've had enough. Shutters is possibly, thought he was going to pick up a spot, maybe help his cushion here a little bit to go back up front. It's going to be back to a 5-way battle for the lead now. Cofield and Stravado have caught up to the back end of these Ritz drivers.
It looks like Cofield and Stravado kind of been working together the last couple laps and just really close that gap.
58 and Cofield a little bit quicker here on the exit of turn 4. He'll get to the outside for 3rd position going into turn 1. Outside of Schwartz, trying to break up this tandem of cars. But then he has a little blinking moment again. Cofield's been really fortunate. These guys have been really aware of where he is even when he's not there, giving him the room and making sure that they don't get into him. As he'll take away the 3rd position.
Very lucky whenever he blinks. It's not very long. It's whenever it comes out to be in a second or 2 of a car disappearing. It's when it really gets scary.
Down the back straightaway, he's picking up the pace on Eric Hutton now. About a 10th faster that last time by. And they'll have just a 10th of a second separating them as they come out of turn 4, peek to the inside of the quad. Little block there from the 87. He's going to try to hold on to it. Carries the momentum to the high side in 1 and 2. Cofield to the high line. He will get to the door and be side by side with Eric Hutton down the backstretch. Opening up the door for John Schwartz for 3rd spot. But Cofield all but clear going into 3. Now he concedes some of that ground back. And Schwartz all over the back bumper, gives him a little push, makes him loose. Cofield still can't clear. Here we go into 1. Yusuf Ghali, loving what he sees in his mirror. 15 laps to go when they cross the stripe this time around.
Yusuf Ghali's loving this 2x2 action behind him, just allowing him to get a little over a half-second gap on Jonathan Cofield currently in second.
Schwartz in the wall off of 4. That breaks up his momentum. Allows the 33 of Stravado to get a good entry into 1. Stravado washes up the racetrack a little bit. Loses some ground. Cofield blinks again. Almost touches the outside wall. Still hanging door to door with Eric Hutton. Ghali has pulled out 6, almost 7/10 of a second, while these guys have battled side by side, and you know that Hutton is definitely playing defense for Ghali. Cofield locked into the points here, and I think maybe if you go back to that benchmark of what we know, or what we thought we knew with how this top 8 was going to be, apparently Holder needs to finish directly behind Farmer. I'm trying to understand that.
It's a real brain twister. And how many times have we talked about our VSPEED broadcasters not being the greatest at math, Bradley?
I'm going to read this one out loud. Those of you at home that can comprehend this. Holder, and this is an I believe Holder needs to finish within 2 of Farmer due to a lap led from Farmer. If Farmer finishes 6th or better, Holder needs to finish directly behind him. However, Farmer is in 9th, so that scenario is not really there, and he is flirting with Drew Prail in the 8th spot, but he has a long, long way to go. Rafael Humi is almost 4 seconds ahead of these guys. And Sean Kaser an additional 2. So that's probably not going to happen as we approach 10 to go. Cofield finally able to clear Eric Hutton, not quite, as they come out of turn 2. Thought he had him. But Hutton's going to fight back on the inside into 3 and 4. Yusuf Ghali puts the 15 of Matt Grenier, the 94 of Bobby Hall, a lap down.
In the meantime, David Farmer did gain that position on Drew Prail, so he is now up into 8th, and Brandon Holder is now flirting with elimination, but still within contention, unless he loses a spot to Nick Mills or if Farmer gains that position on Rafael Hubi.
I'll let you keep track of that. I'm going to keep track of this lead. These guys have spread so far out from Yusuf Ghali, who has an excellent shot with 10 to go of getting the sweep. The 87 of Hutton is able to get back around Jonathan Cofield, but because of this side-by-side battle that lasted about 7 laps, Ghali has checked out. He's in another area code now on the other end of the backstretch, coming around for 8 laps to go. And nobody here in the Overtake iRacing League has gotten a 3 in a row. We've had a multitude of winners in the Cup Series, but never have we had a 3 in a row driver. And Yusuf Ghali trying to aim for win number 6, I believe, of the season.
And this would be number 6, and like you said, 3 in a row, unheard of. And to do it in the playoffs, second round at that, as your points leader. That's pretty impressive stuff from the 45 car.
That spread looking pretty good, barring that we don't have a yellow. Of course, we have unlimited green-white checkered attempts, and we're flirting with a yellow back here. Stravado to the inside of John Schwartz for 4th.
And that last lap around, John Schwartz hit the outside wall, just barely, in that same exact spot.
Stravado trying to get by him, but a little bit of a repeat here with what Cofield had to go through Estrevado not very fast down there on the bottom. He washes up the racetrack a little bit, has to get on the brakes and downshift to keep that car rotating. And he'll lose, oh man, the 48 thought he was clear to get around Matt Grenier, almost gets into him. Oh, they're still going at it. Contact
Big
again
run.
through the quad and through the grass for Estrevado. 5 laps left.
I don't know if you saw it, Bradley, but Estrevado had a huge run on the 48 car there before he hit that inside grass.
Definitely did, but I think that contact sitting down there through the quad end of this car looks really loose. Looks like a handful.
We're at that area of, plus 30 laps on the tires, which is where we've noticed it really starts to get sketchy out there. Like these cars are on skates sometimes. As you see, I believe that was, was that Cofield up there got into the wall a little bit.
Looking back from the back end of Jonathan Cofield, currently running in third. Watching this battle between the 48 of John Schwartz, the 33 Estrevado, going to try the higher to middle line. See if he can get a run on the 48. He will. Great run here down the backstretch. And he might clear the 48. He does. Estrevado up to fourth with 3 to go. 2 laps now. Yusuf Ghali, 2.7 seconds ahead of this entire field. He'll take the white flag the next time by. Car on the wall just in front of him there. I believe that is Michael Cole in the 67. He's going to move up out of the way and let Yusuf Ghali go by. White flag up in the air. The final time around Texas for the trifecta and the sweep of the second round. He just has to do it one more time. It's official. Yusuf Ghali is going to get the win here today at Texas. And in good fashion, he will be your points leader going into the final 8. Eric Hutton back here battling for second spot, playing defense, but off of turn 4 for the final time. Yusuf Ghali, 3 wins in a row in the Cup Series.
I just simply cannot believe the performance that Yusuf Ghali has put on in the second round of the playoffs. That is incredible to take 3 in a row.
Even with the mistake on pit road, to overcome that, come back from 2 laps down to be your race winner. I'm sure this guy's happy that they have stage racing here, because he could have been in an entirely different situation with that. The field was very spread out, but he's able to make that mistake and recover from it thanks to the lucky dog position. And he'll bring it down to the front stretch and burn out 3 times in a row here. He's getting pretty good at it. Post-race interviews with your top 3. We'll catch up with those final results and try to do some math here on VSPEED. Overtake iRacing League Cup Series. Coverage continues right after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back here live from Texas Motor Speedway, the Overtake iRacing League has concluded its 6th race of the playoffs and the 3-win sweep. That second round going to Yusuf Ghali, stage winner here today. Eric Hutton in the 87. Top 8 about to be locked in. Let's show those final results up on your screen. 2 cautions, 1 official, and 17 lead changes here from the Lone Star State. Jonathan Cofield will come home in 3rd position. AJ Stravato in 4th. John Schwartz will bring it home in the 5th spot as Stravato got by there with 3 to go. Sean Kaser, the pole sitters, going to bring it home in 6th. David Farmer, not sure on the math here. He finishes 2 ahead of Brandon Holder, but I think he might be eliminated. This is going to be close here for the 84. Aviel Hubi is going to finish in 8th. Brandon Holder in 9th. And Drew Prail, who was up front for a lot of this race, starting in 5th, he'll round out your top 10.
Coming in 11th, we have Nick Mills. 12th, James Silvers. 13th, Radburn Shutters. Behind him, Blake Hensley in 14th. Jacob Locklear in 15th. Michael Cole, 16th. Matt Grenier in 17th. Cody Anderson, unable to finish the race, I believe. I could be wrong on that. He comes in 18th. Bobby Hall Jr., TJ Hanley, and believe there's possibly Lucas Lyons at the back of that in 21st. But Lucas obviously did not run the race. We didn't see him on the track. TJ and Bobby Hall Jr., I think both of those guys unable to finish that race as well.
So that'll do it here for the final results. We'll try to get you the information of official drivers that are locked into this top 8. But the race recap, get that out of the way. We've got some top 3 drivers to talk to. First guy on the docket, we have Jonathan Cofield, 3rd place here tonight. John, it looked like that car was, it was blinking a lot tonight, but you kept it, everybody was mindful of that. But you looked faster on the long run, but I think, and you can correct me on this, but it looked like you racing with Eric Hutton for so long, it just kind of used up whatever speed you had left.
Yeah, I used it up pretty good, battling with him. About the only way you could get a pass off was do it on the outside of 1 and 2 and hope you could clear him going down the back. But he was running it deep. He didn't want to give up second. So I understand. Sometimes racing goes that way, but it is what it is.
Well, Jonathan, here you're going to lock yourself into that top 8, and I'm sure it was on your mind all night long. We take it back to the first stage of this race. Did you feel like the decision to stay out as long as you did might have came back to get you, or were you pretty much devoted to that from the start?
I was kind of devoted to it. Before the stage, I think everybody took tires, and me and Kaiser and a couple others only took fuel. So that's when we fell so far back. I didn't see no reason taking tires with 12 laps to go on the stage, but still finished get me a little stage point. So it worked out half all right.
Yeah, you were able to get, I believe it was 8th position or 9th position there in that stage. And of course, coming home in 3rd spot really helps you out here. You set yourself up for that top 8. We're going, well, I had it here. I had it for a moment. Let me get that
Kansas.
back up. Kansas Speedway. Thank you for next week. And after 3rd place here tonight in that top 8 in points, what's your mentality going in there to Kansas next week?
Yeah, pretty decent. Kansas will be a little bit different. Seem to be able to ride up top a whole lot more. So I got to get a win at Kansas, or try to, because I just think Martinsville and Bristol's going to be a shit show. So if I can say that.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with you. Those tracks have been notorious, especially Martinsville, for their cautions and unpredictability. Overtake iRacing League has plenty of talent, but we're talking about 300 laps there at both those tracks. So it'll be a long one at that. While we have you up here, Jonathan, anybody you'd like to shout out for tonight's performance?
Oh yeah, I want to thank y'all at VSPEED for coming on and broadcasting league. Alex and Dave, everything they do for the Overtake iRacing League. Kind of winding down the first season. It's been exciting the whole season. Really excited to be a part of this group. Want to thank my teammates at Bandits Motorsports, C2 Motorsports, and the Trucks and Xfinity. They're having an awesome year. SM Racing Products. If you don't have your button box, go check them out. Use code Bandits1 at checkout. Get you 25% off on a purchase over $150. And that's about it.
Well, we thank you for your time. Jonathan Cofield, 3rd place here tonight at Texas. Moving on into the top 8.
Before we move on here, Bradley, word from Alex Penn, Cofield should be in, but it's kind of undetermined between Farmer and Holder on the points. So it's going to be an interesting shakedown, but the way I was reading the updates from Alex, I think Holder's going to take that spot away from Dave Farmer.
Yeah, I wondered about that. They were separated by a position there, and I believe with Farmer finishing in 6th, Holder would have had to be right behind him, but I'm not sure what it meant there with 7th and 9th position. If that still puts them into a tiebreaker situation, I'm not entirely sure. You did have the lap led there for Farmer in this race as well, so you got to factor that in. And I mean, while we try to figure that all out, we have 2nd place. He's down there with Logan Threlkeld. That's Eric Hutton.
Eric Hutton, Logan and Bradley up here in the VSPEED booth. You got a copy, buddy?
I got you.
Well, man, 2nd place tonight. Can't complain with that too much. Obviously, a win would have 100% locked you in, but I think you're good to go anyways. Just kind of run me through the race, man. How'd that car feel?
Yeah, it was a pretty good run. I put in about 2 laps of practice, so had to figure it out on the fly. Big shout out to Yusuf for showing me the line and one that really helped. But first stage was good. Just try to save my stuff there and paid off. And we took 2, which actually the car felt best on 2, odd enough. But besides that, just tried to run a clean race. And towards the end, thought I had something for Yusuf. I let him go there, just sit in his draft, thinking that would give me a better shot. But then once Cofield got to my quarter, it just dragged both of us back. So, but pretty happy with 2nd.
Yeah, there's a lot of battling up there in the front. Pretty well the top 5 the whole time, but you managed to lead 42 of those laps on that two lap practice, so that's rather impressive in itself. But you know, not a whole lot of issues for you this race, and you're going into next week. What'd we say that was Kansas next week, Bradley?
Yeah.
So going into Kansas next week after a second place finish, making it to round 3, assumingly. What are you looking forward to next week, Eric?
Well, Kansas is fun. It's my home track, so I like Kansas, but I'm not the best there. So just try to keep it clean. I mean, I think you gotta get all the points you can at Kansas going into Bristol, Martinsville. I assume those are going to be pretty big or pretty eventful races, I'll say. So just try and keep it clean at Kansas. Hopefully, can be in shot for the win, but I'm not feeling too confident. So just try to get as many points as possible.
You're right about that, and Cofield had the just about the same thing to say about Bristol.
Yeah, he
so.
didn't put it as quite as polite as you did.
Definitely had the more PG version here, but hey, we'll take the answers either way. But Eric, before you depart with us tonight, again, great race, second place finish. Anybody you'd like to say thanks to?
Yeah, I just appreciate everybody putting on the league. It's been fun so far. And appreciate y'all for broadcasting and for Yusuf showing me a Texas line. So my 2 laps we're okay.
Absolutely, and it played out well for you. So again, congratulations, Eric, and we should see you next week, buddy.
All right, we'll see you then.
That's your second place finisher, Eric Hutton. Going to be locked into the top 8 as well. Everybody in this top 3 is locked in, but nobody did it quite like your victor here today. All 3 races in the second round, they go to this guy, Yusuf Ghali, victorious at Texas. Man, I got to tell you, no one has done it quite like you in the playoffs. You are the guy to beat going into Kansas, and race number, I believe, is 19 of the year. Just a phenomenal drive here tonight.
Yeah, I think I'm glad to finally win a race purely on speed, because I feel like every other race we've been maybe a top 5, top 3 car, but every other people have had bad fortune that we kind of were able to capitalize on. But tonight I feel like we were the faster cars, so glad to finally go out there and actually show what we can do just on speed.
Yeah, the car was so fast that it couldn't slow down on pit road, and I want you to talk about how that came about there in stage 1. What was going through your head when that happened after you had just taken the lead briefly?
I got on pit road at 45, which is pit road speed, and then I was like, wait, it's 50. Then I was like, no, wait, it's not 55 or 50, sorry. So I sped up to 50, thinking it was 50, and then realized I was speeding. And then before I could slow back down, it caught me. So I just thought pit road speed here was 50, and I was like, oh, that's stupid. So I was just praying that whole last part of the stage, hoping that I'd be the lucky dog. And I think I barely got it. I think there was someone that was about to get lapped, Eric was telling me. So we got kind of lucky there, because if I hadn't got the lucky dog there, I don't think I would have had a shot at it.
Yeah, it was pretty close. We did have that one caution that maybe could have got you bailed out there. But, that's all history, because you're victorious. You come out on top about 3 seconds ahead of your teammate. We can go back there to those last about 15 laps or so when you started to pull away. You saw Eric Hutton back there racing side by side with Jonathan Cofield. At that point, what was your mentality? Did you feel like, well, this one's in the bag?
I mean, Cofield surprised me. I was looking at the 87 and the 48, and I was like, those guys are the guys to beat. And then I saw the 58 drove up there past like the 33, the 48, and he was racing the 87. I was like, man, that 58's fast. But Eric was able to hold him off and make him burn his tires up on the outside. So I think if the 58 had been able to get around the 87 a little quicker, I don't think we would have had it in the bag. I think we would have had to fight for that. He was fast. He did the same thing at Michigan too earlier this season. I remember that. He just came out of nowhere and took it from me. So
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with you, but however, yeah, a true teammate back there racing hard, and you guys almost, I mean, you got 3 of your 4 cars up here into the top 5. Nick Mills, unfortunately, a little bit of an off day back in 11th, but I mean, all in all, you got to be pretty proud of the group of guys you guys have dominated in this second round.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that 48 and the 87, they've been scary fast a lot of these races, especially John. He's been, I think his finishes during the playoffs have been like first, second, third, fourth or something. Like he's been up there every race. So got a good group of guys we're racing with. So you never know who it's going to go to in the end.
Well, that's a perfect segue as we have you in victory lane. I've heard you say them a few times, but one more. You got it again. The floor is yours.
What happened?
Who would you like to thank?
Oh, I'm sorry. Admins. I mean, Alex always does an amazing job. Both of them. David, always fun to race with. I got to thank you guys. I know you weren't here last week, Bradley, but you know it's always nice to have you in the booth. So just got to thank you guys for putting on the show for us.
Absolutely, Yusuf. And next time I'll try to keep it as clear and concise as I can. I've been trying to play with different segues into, you tend to repeat yourself every week. We cover a lot of racing. So, yeah, good job though, man. And appreciate your time. Good luck there going into Kansas.
Thank you, man.
Race winner, Yusuf Ghali, and he will get all 3 in stage 2 of these playoffs. It was a phenomenal show. Hope you guys enjoyed it here tonight from Texas. If you did, make sure you hit that subscribe button and you'll never miss a single race as we bring you the remaining 4 races here from the Overtake iRacing League on VSPEED. But for everybody that runs things in the background, Adam Baker, who does a lot for this channel, we've got Morgan Cook, Eddie Smith, Christian Hill, our other producers, Logan Threlkeld up here in the booth with me as our co-commentator tonight. This is Bradley Cooper telling you to have a great rest of your week. We'll see you tomorrow night for QSR and the Chase for the Cup, 8 p.m. Eastern Time.